Journalism used to be something that people did to uncover stuff that the people don't know. You go into journalism with a very inquisitive mind. You just want to ask more and more and more questions, deep dive into things to uncover truth. That's pretty much the point of journalism. They investigate and say, oh, okay, this is actually a good product. Or, hey, you may want to stay away from this one. This one is killing people, or whatever extreme situation may be happening that just people just don't know. And it's just an FYI. They also are there to keep politicians in line. There's a guy named Matt Taibbi. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. I don't know who he is. I've seen his reporting before. Not a big fan of Trump. He's a pretty left-wing guy. He is now under attack for doing journalism. He is a journalist. He is reporting. That's what they do. The left are attacking him. And it's so weird because he is on the left. What did he do? He is reporting on an actual corruption story. Why wouldn't the left want to know if something's corrupt? Well, unfortunately for the left, he's reporting on corruption on the left. People hate Project Veritas because they say they're a right-wing, basically hit group. They hide a camera, talk to people, and let them reveal themselves. In some places that's illegal, to not let the person know that they've been recorded or are being recorded. In some places it's not. Where it's not, they do it and they put out information. Why? To let the people know, hey, this is what we're up against. So Matt Taibbi was tapped by Elon Musk. I don't know if who reached out to who decided that he would be the person, the guy, to release the Twitter files. The Twitter files are what Elon Musk described as something that the people need to know. And he said, hey, just so you know, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or whatever they call it now, I will be releasing Twitter files. Why is this a big deal? There are some free speech issues when the government is involved. But there's more of a moral question. What's going on here? We talk about Russia collusion and all these collusions and threats to democracy. But no one ever discusses shutting down the ability to know things or learn things on your platform. That's what happened on Twitter. That's what happened on Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg admitted.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
So we took a different path than Twitter. Basically the background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant.
Of course, they took it seriously and they said, oh, okay, well, lo and behold, a week later or however long later, there was an information dump. The problem is that information was true and it was coming from an American source. But because of the warning, they decided, we need to suppress this. Twitter went a whole different level. Twitter just started blocking it, banning it, shutting it down, full censorship. They shut it down. They didn't want to hear anything about this laptop from hell. They didn't want an October surprise. There's always been October surprises, but they didn't want it if it was going to hurt their candidate. The problem is Twitter has a candidate. This is why I've never been a fan of endorsing candidates. I don't care who it is. I endorse this person. Because at some point, there may come a time where you have to justify that endorsement. And here we are. Twitter colluded with the federal government. Now, they weren't in charge, which is how they're gonna get out of saying, it wasn't free speech. The free speech wasn't infringed from a constitutional standpoint because he was just a candidate. Okay. The problem is that never stopped once he became the president.
And those engagements typically happen through members of our senior staff, but also members of our COVID-19 team. Given, as Dr. Murthy conveyed, this is a big issue of misinformation, specifically on the pandemic. In terms of actions, Alex, that we have taken, or we're working to take, I should say, from the federal government, we've increased disinformation research and tracking within the Surgeon General's office. We're flagging problematic posts for Facebook. We're flagging problematic posts for Facebook. We're flagging problematic posts for Facebook that spread disinformation.
They kept doing what they were doing. So what was once just a, I guess, campaign help, I don't know how that works with campaign finance laws. Did they have to report that they were helping Biden? What are the campaign finance laws? Does that include social media ads? Is it meddling? If several, I think it was LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube for sure. When these companies meddle with a campaign and help them become president of the United States, is that election meddling? If you're promoting favorable information on your preferred endorsed candidate, is that a campaign donation? I don't know. I don't know if our laws have caught up with that, because this is tech and our laws always respond to tech. They never lead. Why? Because, well, nobody's ever done it before. We've never experienced a platform that has billions and billions and billions of impressions on American citizens. We've never had them utilize their platform in this way. Same thing with Facebook. So what do we do? Clearly some legislation has to be laid down over the next few years. Actually, hopefully the sooner the better. But with Democrats holding the Senate potentially, I don't see them going for that. Now, they talked about it when Trump was on social media. All of a sudden, they want to do all this regulating and this, that, and the other. They're saying, well, wait a minute. This is good. We don't like Elon Musk. Why would he take over and show all of our plans? That's where we're at. They hate Elon Musk because he promotes free speech. So Musk and Taibbi say, hey, this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is a 30-something tweet chain, and this is just the beginning. Tomorrow, we're going to put out more information, and we're just going to keep going, and we're going to expose the shadow bans. We're going to expose the followers and all that stuff. Cool. They get a suggestion from another reporter who was in, and they said, hey, who's the person giving you this information? Who is Jim? And so they looked into it, and they said it's Jim Baker. On the actual communication, it said Spectra, and I think the reason why Weiss was curious is because there was information that was already known through court filings that wasn't in the dump that Twitter gave him. Oddly, one of the things even that Taibbi shared didn't have a date on it. And they said it was Jim Baker. Jim Baker from the FBI? Yeah, that Jim Baker. 5 months. 5 months before he went to Twitter, he was getting cast out of the federal government as FBI counsel for being essentially the cause of the whole Russia collusion nonsense. He was the same guy. Russia started with Jim Baker. He's the one who's going after Flynn. He got fired. So what does Twitter do? They hire him. Hey, well, he worked for the government. We got to be able to trust the FBI, right? We can't assume they're bad. So they hire him. And now here he is disseminating information on the corruption of Twitter, and guess who? The FBI! So he's the guy sifting through. And there was an attorney on, I think it was Tucker's show, who said there's some stuff missing. She was another one, like there's some stuff missing here. We're not getting all the information. This doesn't implicate the FBI in any way when we know through court filings that the FBI was involved. Well, guess who was sifting through and vetting the information that Taibbi got and Musk got? Russia guy. There are, I just looked this up, there are 135 or more examples of challenges that fall under the free speech umbrella. So when somebody says free speech is, and they just read the Constitution, like the verbiage on of the First Amendment, that's not the extent of free speech. All the time somebody said something at work, somebody wanted to pray at work and were told they can't, where somebody got fired for speaking something and they weren't on the job. All the time that somebody sued over a free speech issue fall under the umbrella of the First Amendment. What does that mean? That means the Supreme Court had to decide on all these issues. Does this fall under free speech? No. Does this fall under free speech? Yes. And they did it 135 or more times. Give or take a few. I don't know. I'm not sure on the exact number. So now when you go and you say, you know what? I should be able to yell fire in a movie theater. Whether there is or isn't. That's my free speech right. Now they can go back and look under all these cases, or what they would refer to as legal precedent, and say, nope, here it is. This has already been decided on. So either it does pertain to free speech or it doesn't. But now they have all these case files that they can look through and say, yeah, no, this doesn't fly. And they'll boot the case. Or if somebody discovers something that has not been adjudicated, they'll hear it and say, okay, well, we now have a new case, and Supreme Court will take it up. That's all they do. That's the Supreme Court's job. To interpret the Constitution. Hey, does this fall under the Second Amendment? Yes or no? Again, if they've already ruled on it, they typically won't rehear a case. Unless you come up with a compelling argument to do so. So under the free speech, it is not just the language that you see in the First Amendment. It is also all the Supreme Court interpretations of what that paragraph means. And I keep seeing people, oh, no, it has to be the government creating laws that would impede on free speech. No, it's not just that. It's that plus everything that falls under that when you look at all the other articles. And I don't know what you call them, articles, annotations. We'll just refer to it as precedent. Somebody is going to challenge. Somebody's going to read all of those. Do a search and find language. Look up keywords. Find the language and see. Hey, is what Twitter did, or not necessarily Twitter, but some of the people in Twitter, is what they did illegal? Does that fall under free speech? And it may have to be heard in the Supreme Court to create another bullet point. That's where we're at. It's 2022, about to be 2023. Were there any free speech violations There was a Democrat who reached out to Twitter and said, hey, yo, whoa, something, you know, it's not technically the federal government doing this because it's a campaign, but I feel that there's some free speech issues going on here. You guys are shutting down opposition to what you believe. And it was a Democrat, Cannon, I think his name is. I don't know what his last name is. I'll put their last name in because they deserve credit. It was the only person in government who reached out to Twitter and said, yeah, this isn't good. Just an FYI, you guys are pushing it here. You guys are pushing it. You may not want to. This can come back and bite you in the behind. And Elon Musk is at the head of it, saying, hey, I promised you guys transparency. I am going to show that the people who talked about being shadow banned, the people who talked about being banned from Twitter, the people who thought that they were being suppressed in followership. Twitter has been booming since Elon Musk actually took over. Since the day he physically walked in with that sink, users have gone up. People's followings have gone up. Suppression has been decreasing. As he learns more and more about his systems, he's clearly showing that he's more capable than anyone who's run the company before, i.e. Jack Dorsey. Interesting times in the world of Twitter. Twitter has been more entertaining than anything on TV. Pretty awesome. Good job, Elon Musk.